Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, welcome to the Document, crypto education through everyday conversations. I'm Nate Talbot, Executive Director of Detroit Blockchain Center, and to my right,
I am Ashlee Rose. I am your everyday girl. I am a mother. I am an online reseller, and I am on a journey to figure out what is all of this crypto blockchain stuff about.
it's a lot of stuff to try to figure out.
Yeah, you're telling me.
I am telling you. Today's show is pre-recorded, so normally we can have call-ins and whatnot, but today we cannot, so don't try to call. And when are we recording this show, Ashlee?
Well, first I was going to say we are recording this extra early, so...
yeah. Extra coffee.
Yeah, extra coffee, extra energy drinks. So the current block height is 793,892. The block size is 1.9 megabytes. That consists of 3,420 transactions. The total fees and subsidies that were won on this one are 165,744 USD, which equates to 6.424 Bitcoin. And the miner that won that lovely amount is F2 Pool, which is a new one that we have not seen on the show yet.
F2 Pool.
Yeah.
I remember a show or two ago you were asking about, we were slightly talking about which pools or which miners have how much of the hash rate.
Right.
So on the site there, you're looking at mempools.space.
Yep.
If you go to the bottom of the screen, you can see the mining dashboard. They have a mining dashboard. It might be up here at the top too. And then the little hammer at the top is the mining dashboard.
Okay, and you're on your laptop and I'm on my cell phone, so it looks a little different, but...
Yeah.
Yep.
But when you go to your mine, and we're trying to figure out a way here to splice this in, so if you're actually watching this instead of just listening,
yeah, you can see what we see.
Soon you'll be able to see what we see, right? Yeah. But in that, once you find the mining dashboard, you'll see all a bunch of information about the mining, like what the average block fees are, the hash rate, when the difficulty adjustment is, when the next halving is. Mm-hmm. But you also see a breakdown of mining pools. So you can see Foundry currently has, as of this block height, has 33.4% of the total hash rate. So they control 2/3 of the network, or 1/3 of the network.
Yeah.
Then you have Ant Pool. They have about 21%, so they're a little over 1/5 of the network. And then F2 Pool.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
With their 14%.
They're on the board.
They are on the board. But this is one of the questions while you're talking about pools and centralization and decentralization is this. So these three miners together, you have 33, 21, 14. So that's what, 54, 68%. Yeah. It's about 68% of the hash network. So a common critique is if just these three entities collude, right? They obviously control the hash rate, which means they can do what?
They could attack,
what's an attack though look
over.
like? Take over what?
Make double spend.
They could double spend. Double spend your money?
No, their own.
That's right. So it's not as
I passed the quiz, guys.
It's not as catastrophic as some people think it is. It's not healthy, though, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, the biggest counter to that isn't that they could just double spend. The biggest counter to that is these are pools. These are not individual miners.
Yeah,
this isn't like Ashlee's mining 33% of the network, which means unilaterally.
Yeah, like there's not like a foundry, like that's a person.
Right. There is a company that's running the pool, but the pool is a real-time conglomerate of individual users. You might have yourself one ASIC miner. You don't want to try to win a block yourself because it's so rare that then you fall down to this 2% of others, right? And you're probably only about 0.02% of the 2% of others if you're a solo miner.
So you're low, low, low on the totem pole.
Right. So if there was ever suspicion of any kind of collusion, or if any one of the pools themselves somehow, as an organization, were trying to control the hash rate, all the individual miners, or a good chunk of them, could just point their miner to a different pool. They could point to something like a Mara pool or Via BTC or any other pools.
But it would only be Foundry that would be able to double spend their money, not the people in the pool.
Well, they all together make up Foundry, which is why another thing. It's like first, before Foundry and Antpool could collude, you almost have to have all the miners in those pools be part of the collusion. And then you start to fall into like these weird conspiracy theory things, where like it's not that it's impossible, but it's like, how likely is it? It's one thing to say like 3 people have a conspiracy, or one agency and the top people in an agency or something have some kind of conspiracy. But when you start talking about like the janitor's got to be in on it, right? And then nobody's talking about it, it just becomes less and less likely. You know, large scale conspiracies happen, right? But becomes less likely. But that's not even the point of the show today. What is the point of the show today?
Well, I was kind of thinking, now that I'm like starting to understand a couple things here, maybe we could dig into a couple of these coins that you would see on, your exchange or that exist, and maybe try to look into what problem each of these coins solve, like why do they exist, and maybe a little bit about like how they solve that problem and kind of what they do, like what their purpose for being here is.
All right. The cynic in me says I can answer this in about 5 seconds.
What do you mean?
Well, it's easy. They solve the problem of the founders not having enough bread.
You think so? You don't think that some of these are actually solving problems?
Well, so I'm on CoinGecko.com right now, right? This allows you to see current prices of different tokens, and if you click on them, it'll give you a little bit deeper summary of them. But at the very top of that screen, it lets you know like how many coins there are, right? So on CoinGecko, they have 9,999 listed. Now I'm going to jump over to an even broader one, CoinMarketCap.com. They have 25,638 different coins on their platform.
Yowza.
So when you say do they all try to solve a problem, you're trying to say that there are 25,638 different problems that exist that specifically can only be solved by some kind of crypto or blockchain.
Yeah.
So this is where you get a lot of skepticism from at least people like me on what problems does it really solve. Most of them probably solve no problem.
I guess I didn't realize like how many there are. I typically tend to look at like the top 10, top 20, top 30 maybe.
Which is a good starting point, but the downside of that is top 10 by what?
Yeah.
By price, right? By market cap, which just means they've suckered more people potentially, right?
Yeah.
So most people know I'm a Bitcoin motionless. I don't think Bitcoin's suckering people. I like Ethereum. I don't think Ethereum Core is really suckering people. Now, a lot of projects built on it, though, because that's where a lot of these coins come from. But yeah, you have Dogecoin in the top 10.
Yeah. Well, is Pepe Coin in there? Because that's... and also... No? For real? Wow.
No.
How about Shiba Inu?
No.
For real?
No,
Okay.
not right now. You got the hype train is over. Shiba Inu's right now is at 18th. And again, it's at market cap. So even if it was in the top 10, which it was at one point, right? It was outperforming Doge. What does that mean? More people think it's going to go to $1 and they're going to get rich. What problem is that solving besides
Yeah.
that a casino or a lottery doesn't already solve.
Yeah.
So some things, yes, but I'm not a total skeptic. I think there are several projects that I get excited about in the space that I do think solve problems. Whether there's actively solving them is something different. But even Bitcoin, it aimed to solve a problem, and it's just now, really, in the past few years, getting to a point where, in certain areas, it is solving a problem, not proposing to solve a problem. The only problem Bitcoin solved for probably majority of its existence is speculation, right? The problem it solved was, I think,
Like
number go up.
Okay.
But now people can use it. People are using it.
Yeah.
Nation states are using it. Corporations are using them. People are using it, and not just for number go up, but to be to preserve wealth, right? And that's really what Bitcoin was designed to do: preserve wealth, and that's the first stage of being sort of peer-to-peer cash.
So is that what? Might be a silly question, but I'm going to ask it. So was the U.S. dollar designed to preserve wealth?
No.
Because I feel like
It
people tend to think of a 1-to-1, like Bitcoin is supposed to replace the USD, but if they're solving two different problems, then I feel like that's a silly assumption.
Which I'm going to assume you're talking about USD as we know it today, right?
Yeah.
Because USD post 1971 is very different than USD pre 1971.
Yep.
And then USD pre early 1900s is very different than USD, or post 1900s is very different than, the pre 1900s. Dollars don't preserve wealth today. This is what inflation is all
Right.
about, and inflation is built into the monetary system, most countries' monetary system, right? Inflation by nature is designed to, by its nature, it destroys wealth, not preserves it, right?
Right.
Deflation preserves wealth.
Right.
But deflation can destroy economic growth. Inflation promotes economic growth. Basically, to not sound like a junior level economist to anybody who doesn't really care about any of this stuff like that, is you run a business, right? You're a business. I'm a citizen, and our favorite person, Alice, right, represents the government or the state, right? Now, what Alice wants in the interest of the people, assuming all best intentions, is she wants to see economic growth, right? But we have some kind of deflationary currency or flatline currency, right? But especially if it's deflationary. The only way you can grow the economy is to help businesses expand. The only way you're going to expand is I come spend my money. You sell a widget, whatever that widget is, right? Now, if you have a deflationary currency, if I'm holding today, we'll use U.S. dollar terms, people get them. If I'm holding $1 US worth of purchasing power today, and it's deflationary, that means tomorrow I might actually have $1.10. And in a week, I might have $1.35 because the value of my dollar is going up.
Right.
Right? This is why people buy gold, stocks, things like that. The purchasing power goes up. So why would I buy your widget today for $1 when tomorrow I'll have $1.10 and I get a discount?
Well, what if you need the widget today?
Well, then this is the argument for, this is sort of an Austrian argument for deflation, right? It makes people more responsible spenders. We're not, it kills consumerism in a way, right? Needless consumerism, and it encourages people to save up and preserve their wealth in hard times and only spend on things they really need or truly want, not just sort of leisurely want. You don't see people leisurely walking into car dealerships buying a car, and most likely in the Austrian economy. But in a capitalist, in like a Keynesian economy, which we're in, we're sort of phased into now a modern monetary theorist economy, which is like Keynesian and on steroids.
That sounds like it's going to be a separate episode.
Well, we sort of covered this in the whole what is money and finance stuff. But, yeah, ultimately, the more you spend, the more you incentivize people like me to spend, the more money a business is going to make. The more money you make, the more you can expand out. The more you want to expand out, the more likely you're going to need more like loans and things like that. So the financial system can expand out, and you're going to see this rapid expansion.
Right.
Right. So that's the utility of Bitcoin, is trying to do multiple things. Be a peer-to-peer cash, but you can't really do that without a wealth preservation piece. Dollars get away with that because originally they used gold as the wealth preservation piece, right? Gold was the store of value.
Right.
And then you could issue a dollar based off the gold. So dollar became a means of exchange and also a unit of account, right? Because it was using gold as that back. And then in 71, we left the gold standard officially. And now it's the U.S. word that's the preservation of wealth. It's your store of value, right? So I can spend the dollar. What makes the dollar worth something?
Because
the U.S.'s bullets, right? And then you can tap into that. Back on the gold standard, you could tap into it by buying the actual gold. Now you can tap into that by buying a treasury. So if you got dollars and you want to preserve wealth, you don't hold dollars. You don't know anybody who's wealthy that holds dollars. Nobody's millionaire or billionaire or 100,000-aire or any of that. That's not financially struggling and holds all their money in some kind of savings account.
Right. Yeah. They're trying to put their dollars out to work for them. Like they want to give them away so they go do something. Right.
And if you want that store of value from the dollar, then you buy a U.S. Treasury. If you want something even more deflationary in a sense, you get more risky assets like real estate, stocks, Bitcoin.
So, okay,
Ethereum.
So then, again, silly question alert, but so then is Bitcoin really like a currency? If it's supposed to be a store of value,
it's not a currency
why would
yet.
you want to? Well, why would you want to transact in it if it's supposed to be deflationary and be a store of value?
Well, this is we're getting back to sort of monetary arguments, right?
Yeah.
It's an argument. Why is deflation better than inflation? That's more subjective, and it hasn't been proven because we've never really lived in this society, and I don't know of one that was naturally came up in a purely Austrian monetary theory, which would argue for a deflationary economy. So it's just theory mostly right now. We haven't really seen it at scale to test it. We know an inflationary economy definitely boosts productivity in a way.
Yeah.
But it also increases wealth gaps.
Right.
And it hyperinflates. Right. Inflation is a natural cycle, so it hyperinflates. And then you have to be a currency, right? You got to have more of that exchange piece.
Right.
Bitcoin, again, for most of its existence, Bitcoin didn't do anything it promised to do on the surface because no one was using it for it. But over the past 5 years or so, that's rapidly changed. You have things like Lightning Network, which make it much easier to do peer-to-peer cash, even just using Bitcoin directly. If you're using mid-level to high-end purchases, it works. A lot of people are using it to just preserve their wealth right now.
Yeah.
You know?
But then you wouldn't want to use it as a currency if you're like in a time like this. Like you would want to hold on to it and not spend it.
Right. I'm a doomer in the manner that I think we're headed for very tough financial times over the next 12 to 18 months. Right. I don't think we've seen anywhere near a bottom. Right? Yeah. Globally, not even just talking like here in the U.S. Therefore, I'm going to find things where I think are going to at worst, just hold my value.
Right.
I want to keep that purchasing power.
Right.
I'm not going to keep that in dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
And then in good times, when things turn around or if I'm totally wrong or whatever, I've preserved I don't really lose then, right? All I'm losing is my current consumerism.
Right.
I don't get to buy all the newest cool toys I want because I need to preserve my purchasing power.
Yeah.
Then in good times, if the assets I chose to buy, again, I might put it in like a Bitcoin and a few other crypto pieces. There's real estate. There are a few stocks you might put it in. If they all do their job right, I put it in gold or silver. If they all do their job right, even if I'm wrong about the economic conditions in 2 years, they still have maintained or increased their purchasing power.
Right.
So I can just buy more stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's sort of Bitcoin's thing. But Bitcoin is good for that and sort of that alone right now, unless you really like really expensive, not truly immutable NFT-esque things. Then you can also do that on Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
They are working on a few like layer 2 solutions and things that allow you to do more smart contract type things. But if you don't want to wait for that, you can always hop over to a different type of cryptos like Ethereum.
Yeah. So then as it stands right now, Bitcoin is solving store value.
Bitcoin is solving a hyperinflationary market problem.
Okay.
Right? Which, store of value, but mostly store of value curbed by humans. The whole point of, the original point of something like Bitcoin was to get people out of the mix when it comes to long-term decision making. Right? Not entirely out of the mix. We're not talking about AI stuff, right? But temporarily out of the mix. So you want to know, again, if you're a business or you're a parent, let's assume you're a mother, an everyday mother, right?
Yeah. Is she a reseller? Online reseller?
She's a reseller. That works perfectly. An everyday mother who's a reseller, just trying to figure out what this whole crypto and everything, this whole world thing is about, right? So that's you. You want to be able to plan, especially when you have kids, for the future.
Right.
How do you plan for the future when, as soon as you get your plan established, the game changes? They change all the rules.
Right.
So you're like, all right, this is what I got to do. I got to save this. I got to do this. I got to put this here so this can be there for my daughter. Boom, set. Oh, yeah. That's not how we do it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get this back. Let me reset. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and reset, and boom. Yeah, we're not going to do it like that anymore. We're going to go back to the old way. Oh. Okay, let me reset again, right?
Yeah.
You're just hopping from one foot to the next, and by the time you think you get something straight, right?
Yeah.
It's too late. Because now your daughter's 23.
Yeah, now she's
and you're like,
got
I've never been able to do anything because I kept changing the rules.
Yeah.
So the point of a permissionless, censorship-resistant, immutable blockchain is that it's very, very difficult, almost to the point where some of them it becomes close to impossible to change the rules of the game. Right? People embed Bitcoin only will ever have 21 million, right? Under 21 million coins ever. That's an absolute statement. That's not true as an absolute. Bitcoin could have 42 million. You would just have to get the entire network pretty much to agree we need 42 million coins. The likelihood of that happening is a very close to, but not quite 0%, but it could happen, right?
Yeah.
But that's what makes it powerful is it's not going to happen on a whim.
Right.
You're not going to wake up tomorrow and somebody's like, we changed the monetary policy of Bitcoin.
Right.
There's 42 million now.
Or you're like chasing
we just
your tail.
cut your store of value in half. Right?
I see.
That's the utility of Bitcoin. You have this immutable time chain that can't be changed easily without wide consensus.
So that's what they mean when they say it's evening the playing field.
Right.
Okay.
Who makes the decision now? If they want to double the dollar supply, if you're in Europe, if they want to double the euros in circulation, right?
Yeah.
Who controls that?
The
Middle East, Russia, a lot of countries are oil driven, right?
Yeah.
Who decides whether they're going to drill more oil or not?
Probably like some committee somewhere that's out of touch with
You're lucky if it's committee and it's not just one single individual.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no consensus there. You live on somebody else's whim. And maybe that person's great, but when that person leaves and a new person comes in, now you got to hope they're also going to be.
Well, you have to hope that their incentives are aligned with yours. And that's kind of, I'm having a little bit of another like revelation right now when you always say like Bitcoin kind of helps align incentives. So that's kind of connecting that piece right now in my brain.
Yep. It is money for enemies.
Yeah.
Because nobody can change the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unilaterally.
Yeah.
So that's Bitcoin's sort of what is it good for, right? Does it serve any purpose? I think so. Other people disagree because they think we already got that with a government. Some people think Bitcoin ain't the way, so they want to use something else. Some people think Bitcoin's great, right? Cut me off if you got other things you can talk about because I'll just go down my own chain. But some people think Bitcoin's great, but it lacks privacy, therefore it sucks. So therefore Monero is the way, or Zcash is the way. Yeah.
Well, I do have a list of coins. I wasn't sure how long if we were gonna breeze through these or whatever. But so I guess we could just start. I have a controversial one that I want to start with.
Uh-oh. I already feel like I know what it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's right here. XRP.
XRP. The XRP army.
Yeah.
So what is XRP's purpose?
Right. That's what I want to know.
Well, what's their stated purpose? Do you know that?
I think it's is it to be a bridge of all money or something? That's what I think. That's what I think.
Sort of.
That's what I've heard on the interwebs.
On the interwebs. So here from CoinMarketCap, right? If you go to CoinMarketCap, you'll see on the first page all the top, all the 22 or 26, however many I said there are, 25,000 cryptos. You can use the search box, but XRP is the top 10. So look through your top 10, you'll see XRP, click on it. It's going to give you like its chart and price. But if you scroll down, which I don't think most people do, they usually stop at the price chart.
Yeah.
But if you scroll down some, it'll give you some news, and then it'll tell you about it. And they usually pull this information from and summarize it from the actual project. So this is your first step on sort of getting what it is. And if you go to the whole do your own research episode we did, I linked to a couple of these. So you'll have like CoinGecko. I like Masari because they give a lot of detailed research and stuff. So from CoinMarketCap, launched, let's see, the XRP Ledger is an open source permissionless technology. Benefits of XRP include its low cost transactions, its speed, its scalability, and inherently green attributes. They've already lost me. All right. The XRP Ledger also features the first decentralized exchange. I don't know about that. And custom tokenization capabilities built into the protocol. That didn't really tell much about why it was created.
Yeah.
So here we go. Launched the XRP Ledger and its native currency XRP. It's supposed to be a faster, more energy efficient alternative to the Bitcoin blockchain. Right? So sort of what I was just saying about the privacy thing, like Zcash and Monero. Right? They're like, oh, Bitcoin's great, but it needs more privacy. XRP is like,
it needs to be faster.
Yeah, but since I've been around long enough to remember the previous narrative, the 2016-ish narrative, it wasn't just that it was faster. They wanted to be the new banking rail part. They're like, banks and stuff are not going to just hop in and start using Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right? And I sort of agree with that, right? Banks, you don't come up and say, hey, I'm going to destroy everything you stand for.
Right.
So you should just use me. They're going to fight you on that, right?
So they'd be like step one, like introduction.
Right. So way back when I used to, full disclosure, maybe I'll do that in some of these. I own Bitcoin. I used to own XRP. I don't anymore, but maybe I'll start disclosing. None of this is financial advice. We're not financial advisors. Ashlee's already said she's just learning all this stuff, and I'm just some schmuck that she listens to sometimes, but shouldn't when it comes to financial advice. All right. So that all being said, back when I first really got into XRP, that was their whole thing, and I sort of agreed on that piece. Like, all right, they're not going to just go to use Bitcoin, so I am a believer that true power, can't be taken.
Right.
It has to sort of be given. Usually it's given through arrogance, right? So whoever's powerful is so arrogant they don't think they could lose it, and they just don't pay attention as they slowly relinquish their power away until they have none. That's how empires, get toppled and things. And I think the same is true with banking system. You're not just going to walk in and take the banking system.
Yeah.
Right? You have to sort of trick them into it. So I was like, yeah, I get that, XRP. I'm with you. But then I started to think. As time went on, the big thing they were sort of attacking is the rails that run the whole banking system, right? Which is like Swift.
Okay.
This is just like a messaging service, but this is, if you don't know, that's how banks, especially when you leave your country of origin, it's not like a bank calls up another bank. They use this whole underlying protocol that's a messaging service to do this. So Ripple Labs, who started XRP, and started this pre-Bitcoin, right? They didn't have a cryptocurrency pre-Bitcoin, but they had this intention to replace Swift. They've always, Ripple Labs, or Ripple Incorporated, has always been in the game of replacing the rails that run the banking system. And so when Bitcoin came along, of course they were all on that, but Bitcoin isn't built for that yet, right? It has the scalability when you're doing, it's the whole trilemma thing.
Yeah.
And we'll do an episode maybe on the trilemma one day so I don't get sidetracked into that.
I'll write it down.
Right. So this is where XRP started to come through. And so XRP, pre-2020, 2021, so for most of its existence, its whole base was you had the ledger, and then you had the XRP token.
Okay.
The ledger was the messaging system. The token was the way that banks were going to use to sort of, they would put the money, whatever currency, they would transfer it over to the XRP, wire that across the globe at almost zero fees, right? Then they can convert it back into whatever native currency or whatever. That was the whole premise.
Native currency being fiat?
Whatever, fiat or whatever. It could have been technically anything you could convert. You just have to, it's an exchange, right? So you're just going to convert it over to the XRP, transfer it. Because even if it was gold, if I want to send gold, I can't just send it instantly at no cost.
I see what you're saying.
So you would convert the gold to XRP, send the XRP, and unconvert it. But it was probably more gold promissory notes because we all know the problem with porting gold. So yeah, that seemed like a good idea. But then you start to think, all right, well, if you're this company and you're providing this system. I'm JP Morgan and I'm you're Bank of America and somebody else is Wells Fargo. Alice, our favorite Alice is Wells Fargo. Right? Why are they just going to be like, oh, cool, this one system that we sort of control, we're going to give that up and go to your system?
Right.
Now, they might like your system.
But they don't have control of it.
They don't have control of it.
Right.
So why wouldn't they just build their own?
Right.
And that's exactly what started to happen, right? In 2017, you started to hear the blockchain, not Bitcoin debate. That was banks saying, we're going to build our own. And that's what they did. They didn't go and run and use XRP. They ran and just built their own little networks.
Does it have a name?
I can't remember. Like JP Morgan had the most popular one. I can't remember what the name is.
Okay.
Chase Coin, JP Morgan Coin. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie Dimon Coin. It was something. I can't remember.
Oh, wow.
Because it was garbage.
Yeah.
Like most of these systems are. But that's what they're going to do. And then the few places that did experiment with XRP, and experiment is the key word, right? They didn't experiment with XRP, the token. They experimented with the
rail.
the ledger.
Oh, the ledger.
The actual ledger. That's what, when you heard like such and such bank was going to try this out.
Yeah.
They tried out the coinless technology part, right? Because that's what interested them. They didn't care about the coin. And so when you're looking at, is XRP something worth the token? Is it worth doing something? And I'm not arguing. I'm not making any stance or arguments at this moment about decentralization or whether it's owned or if it's a security. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just talking about straight up utility, right? People who get XRP get it hoping the price is going to go up. They're not holding it because they hope the price stays steady and banks use it for a steady, stable, same price as I converted my dollars for it for. They want the price to go up. But now you got to start thinking about the economics of that. Why are banks going to start using this coin knowing that the usage of the coin, assuming the usage of the coin is going to make the price go up?
Right.
Which means everything starts to go up. It's not as cheap. It's not as whatever, especially if they bought it, because now they have to start thinking about game theory of it. If I buy it now and we buy too much of it, the price is going to escalate, which means when we need to buy more in the future, we're going to get less. That whole purchasing power conversation.
Right.
So it doesn't even make sense for them to want to use the coin piece if it's designed to go up in price as usage increases.
And then it becomes more expensive for them to use it.
Right. Now, Bitcoin is designed to go up in price as usage increases. This is part of a limited supply, supply and demand, right? So you start to look at these things, and it's like, now does it really make sense to use XRP, at least the token? I think it makes less sense.
Yeah. So XRP kind of, is it like, it's a solution without a problem, kind of like it's just
not the token. Absolutely. There's again, I don't think they're wrong on like the SWIFT system being a problem. And if you can decentralize, if you could take a SWIFT system and decentralize it, which is what they basically do. They always go to the banking conferences and they have their I can't remember the name of it right now. Yeah, SWIFT, and they have
like quantum thing?
No, but it's like an alternative to SWIFT. They're always sort of selling that. So everything Ripple's doing, it's that intent, right? Ripple wants to get this new platform going. If they can make it decentralized, minus a token, I don't have a problem with that, right? It's just the token doesn't make sense, right? And so that's my unique take on it. But yeah, XRP. So does it have utility, the token? I don't see it.
Yeah. They don't even list it in their about either, which is like kind of goofy.
Well, most people don't list when you're looking at things, and again, this is more for go back and check out our do your own research. But
I feel like that would
there's marketing and then there's the technology.
Yeah.
And you have to go look at the technology of things. It's sort of like the game theory. Go back and check out the game theory episode, right? That's why we cover all these different pieces. To really understand how something works, you have to really understand the real mechanisms, not the marketing pitch. Wouldn't it be great if this? Yeah, that would be great. How are you going to do it? Oh, you just do this. Well, as soon as you hear somebody say you just do this, it's like, all right, that's probably not a working solution.
Yeah.
Right. And as you start to dig in, you know, you got to look at supply and demand, game theory, how the technology works, the immutable pieces. Is it really immutable? Is it really permissionless? What does permissionless mean? How are they defining it? Well, it's permissionless. Anybody can join. Cool. Can I join? Well, first you have to go through this committee thing. All right. So it's not really permissionless. Well, no, anybody can join as long as you pass the XYZ.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it doesn't really sound permissionless.
Right. And again, it's how you're going to define it. For me, permissionless means any schmuck who can grab some kind of a phone or some kind of technology can participate.
Yeah.
In an internet connection or something. That's what it means to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You should very minimal qualifications.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then the next one I have written down is Chainlink.
Chainlink, covering our Oracle problems. So we'll do the same thing. Let's go to Masari this time.
Yes, I hear Oracle is being brought up a lot, and I don't think we've really
talked about oracles.
Yeah.
We have not. So Chainlink is an Oracle solution. Let's say decentralized. Here's their summary according to Masari, right? Chainlink is a decentralized Oracle network. It aims to serve as middleware between smart contracts on smart contracting platforms and external data sources, allowing smart contracts to securely access off-chain data feeds. What's that mean to you?
Not really sure. Sounds like they're, to me it sounds like almost like an AI or something that's like trying to use real world data to, I don't know, do something, connect blockchains.
So everybody now is familiar with like NFTs, right? In general, right? Because it isn't an NFT episode, but an NFT is just it's a non-fungible token. It means it's a unique representation, right? A dollar is fungible, even though it's got a serial number, so you can track individual dollars. If I have a dollar and you have a dollar and we swap them, neither one of us feels like we're cheated. We have the exact same thing.
Right.
If I have one Bitcoin and you have one Bitcoin and we swap them, we both have one Bitcoin, right? There's no difference in it.
Yeah.
Right? But if I have a Picasso and you have a Basquiat and we swap them, we don't have the same thing.
Right.
Right? Non-fungible. Period.
Got it.
All right.
Okay, that's a really good explanation.
So the power of how native blockchain assets work, right? So let's take CryptoPunks. Like we'll stick with the NFT example, right? CryptoPunks, or let's even go further back, CryptoKitties, right? And if you know what I'm saying off rip, you're at least old school enough. Pat yourself on the back. You've been here for a minute. CryptoKitties. There you go.
So like OG NFT.
Yeah. So
Okay.
well, right. It was the CryptoKitties was not the first NFT, but it was the first mainstream NFT. It shut down Ethereum. It was so mainstream because of scalability problems. And CryptoKitties are born and live entirely on chain. The artwork, everything about a CryptoKitty is on chain. It's truly NFT. So I can go through, it's truly immutable. I can go through, see when it was created, right? And track its entire history forever,
Okay.
right? That's the power of an immutable ledger. When you hear people start talking about, oh man, but imagine if you could do that with real estate or supply chains.
Yeah.
Right? There's a problem there. There's a huge problem, and that's the Oracle problem. Right? The Oracle problem is, how does the blockchain know anything about this thing that was not born on chain? Real estate isn't born on chain. So once you enter it on chain, sure, that information, but how does the blockchain know any of that information is true?
Yeah.
How does it know so-and-so really owns this real estate?
Right.
How does it know this apple was really picked here? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's like you told it. It's like,
being
all right,
told.
cool. You told me that.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, everybody, so-and-so said this happened at this time. It's not verifying any of that.
Right.
Right?
It's just being like a data entry being put in. So like if I wanted to say like my house was worth like $1 million, you know, as opposed to it being like 200,000,
Right.
then there could be problems if I'm like fudging the data.
Exactly. And the same thing true, sticking with the NFT thing, right? With most NFTs that come out, it's really expensive to keep every piece of an artwork NFT on chain. That's really expensive.
Because of the data it takes up, or?
Yeah, you're paying for the gas. That's what gas, if you're paying like in Ethereum, gas is what you pay for the data you're using, right?
Okay.
And an image is huge.
Right.
It's a lot of data. So they keep information about the image, who created it, where the actual file sits, and then they try to use something, at least the ones who are trying to act at least like they're good actors will put it like on IPFS or something. because that's decentralized storage.
What's that?
It's like, if you're familiar with like Amazon Web Services or HostGator or GoDaddy, like where people keep their websites.
Okay.
It's like that, but decentralized.
Okay.
Right? So they might keep it there, but this is where a lot of NFT rug pulls happen. I'm telling you, I'm making a new, I don't know, something image, right? A new Nate token thing. And here's the image, right?
Blockument token.
A blockument token, right? With our logo.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to have 100 of them. Here's the logo.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool, I got it. Now you got the NFT, but what does that mean? That means for most projects, it means you just have the metadata. Mm-hmm. It says, I gave it to you at this date, at this time, at this whatever. And you go to look at the actual image. Well, where's the image? Mm-hmm. Well, that's sitting in my server someplace. And I swap that out for a picture of, I Rickroll you, right? I give you that whole Rick Aston song.
Yeah.
And the people have actually done that.
For real, that's actually kind of funny, but also
it is sort of funny, but it sucks because how do you prove the blockchain is not some magical piece of technology that just knows everything and tracks everything.
And so then that's where the Oracle comes in?
So the Oracle comes in. Chainlink says, look, we think we can solve this for some things, right? They haven't figured out how to solve it for most things. But some things, right? So one of the first use cases on Ethereum was outside of speculation. Speculation is everybody's first sort of role part. Was prediction markets. Basically base level gambling platforms, right? Like Vegas type stuff. Hey, is it going to rain today?
Yeah.
Want to take the odds?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if you're going to do that, you can do that in a decentralized way, right? Ethereum allows that. But how do we, in a decentralized way, verify who won?
Right.
So we take our money, we all pool it in.
Yeah.
You got it's going to rain. I got it's not going to rain. And Alice says it's going to be misty, which means she'll win a third of the pot if she's right? Yeah. So now the day goes by and it's a full out rainstorm. Mm-hmm. So you won. Do you have to wait for us to admit you won?
Right. I don't know.
Well, if you did, we're not going to want to lose our money. So we're going to be like, no, it didn't rain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do you guarantee in a permissionless, immutable, censorship-resistant way that you're going to get the pot? Well, like, I'll put it in a smart contract. Cool. How does Ethereum blockchain or your smart contract know if it rained in this little region in the world?
It has to be, like, the data for that has to be inputted.
It has to be input. So how do you input data in a trustless way? Who's inputting the data?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
So what Chainlink does is they go out and they sort of act like this external data input thing. So they might query the Weather Channel. They might query the news, the local news, 3 of the local news networks in the area we're talking about. They might query 5 other like weather service things. They'll tap into Apple weather. Mm-hmm. So they try to get this wide pool of data resources that are unconnected.
Yeah.
And then they just use consensus to sort of say, all right, all of the 2/3 of these places, or whatever metric they use, of these places all confirm it rained. Mm-hmm. So the smart contract is just really pinging as part of our smart contract for our bet. What it does is we say, all right, on this date, we're going to find out whether it rained or not. So once that day and time goes by, the smart contract starts pinging Chainlink. Hey, Chainlink, what happened? Mm-hmm. And Chainlink goes out and pings these services and pings back and says, it rained. And smart contract said, all right, it rained, boop, and it releases the money to you.
So Chainlink is kind of like a data aggregator that confirms or denies a claim that someone is making, kind of.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And so can that be used with like real estate or some of these?
Eventually, once you get, but the question is how do you know Chainlink isn't somehow
like incentivized?
Fixing the data. So they have their own decentralization thing they have to prove to everybody, right? Then how many independent data points do they need for any of us to be like, yeah, I trust that? If we're making a sports bet, is it just they go to ESPN and that's it? Mm-hmm. Or are they going to ESPN and Fox Sports? Well, that's only two.
Yeah.
I want those are, and both of those are, I don't know if this is true, both of those are owned by Disney. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's really one data point you're giving me.
I see.
And even if it was Disney and Comcast that own both of those, right? Those are both American companies. So you still got a single point. Mm-hmm. So you have that decentralized, like, I need a global, like, how many do you need? So these are sort of the problems that the Oracle problem solvers need to solve for themselves. But Chainlink sort of leads the race in that. They're the most widely used one. They're all throughout DeFi, because this is Oracle problem with DeFi, right? If you're doing lending, you put up your ETH, you put up 10 ETH, and then you borrow 3 ETH. Mm-hmm. Well, the price of ETH, where that price goes, right, depends on whether you're going to lose your collateral or not.
Yeah.
How do you know what the price of ETH is? How does the Aave smart contract know what the price of ETH is? It has to tap into networks. What networks? Is it going to do just DEXs? Is it going to use Binance and Coinbase?
Shouldn't it use a mix?
Yeah, well, if you want decentralized, but how is Aave going to do it? They either have to build their own Oracle, right? Or they have to use an Oracle solution, and that's where Chainlink comes in.
Okay, so if you're using Aave would kind of like check in with Chainlink to see what. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then Chainlink would check in with all these different data price feeds. And now if it's transparent and open source, you'll be able to go to Chainlink and see what all these
how they
data
arrived.
feeds are. Are they accurate? Is it timely? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the Oracle thing.
Okay, cool.
So does the question become, so is there utility in that? So I'm not going to, I was talking about, I do hold some Chainlink. Mm-hmm. So take my answers with bias and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think solving the Oracle problem, if you want to do anything with a blockchain that's not native to the chain, you have to solve the Oracle problem.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's been absolutely solved, but there are a few companies working on it. Chainlink is sort of the leader in that.
And solving it in, when you say solving the Oracle problem, you mean solving it in the trustless, permissionless, like decentralized manner, as opposed to just like, I'm Ashlee's Oracle. You can come, use me, and I'm just I'm solely inputting all the data.
Right. One of the pieces of this is being trustless, right?
Right.
Not needing to rely on a third party. So if I'm like, oh no, Chainlink's got me, that sounds a lot like I'm relying on a third party.
Yeah.
Unless you have something where Chainlink can be like, no. Chainlink in and of itself is this permissionless, decentralized, whatever. If I want to trade Bitcoin, like if I'm the type who thinks, all right, there are things on Ethereum. Ethereum itself is the second most decentralized network in blockchains that we have. They're technically secure in a lot of their features. They've done things. There's never been a problem with the core Ethereum network. And they've done the second most technologically advanced thing ever, especially in the blockchain space, when they did the merge, when they completed 2.0. They've went from proof of work to proof of stake on a live network and didn't miss a block. Yeah. That's huge. Yeah. Besides like the Genesis block of Bitcoin, that's probably the biggest thing that's ever happened in all this. So they're surviving so far, right? So you trust in that, all right? So if I trust in that and I trust in something, a project, let's say I trust in Chainlink on top of that, and then I trust in Aave on top of that, right? I have the system and then Uniswap and a few other DEXs, right, on top of that. So if all of these different spots are proven that they're legitimate sources, with the only weak space being like a centralized exchange that Chainlink is tapping into, because we know those are, third parties, period. But if you have certain levels of decentralization you're comfortable with all the way through, then yeah, that's the problem they have to solve. Like, are we decentralized? Is the data input we're getting decentralized? And can it be manipulated where I can truly not have to worry about trusting it? I can verify everything. But that becomes a problem, again, especially when you're talking about real estate, because at the end of the day, wherever that land is sitting, that government controls that real estate, and it can do things. A government isn't going to care what the blockchain says. If it's like, I want a freeway there, not a house, it's going to put a freeway there, right? Well, the blockchain says, and is the blockchain going to come to my door with bullets? Then no, I don't care. Right? So that's still part of an Oracle problem that, Chainlink itself or any of the Oracle systems aren't going to be able to unilaterally fix. Or at least I'm not creative enough to figure out how they could unilaterally fix it, So Chainlink, I think there's any kind of Oracle thing, look at them, see what they're really doing. All oracles aren't created equal. Yeah, I think there's utility there. I don't know how much time we have for another one.
Probably about like 10 more minutes. Do you think we have?
All right, yeah, we got a few more minutes. Let's try one more.
Okay. I'll give you 2 options and you can pick one. How does that sound?
Sure.
Okay. Algorand or Cosmos?
All right. I know you said I'm going to pick one, but I'm going to let you pick which one I pick.
Okay.
All right. I'm fairly familiar with Cosmos.
Okay.
And I own some. And the whole network, I don't understand how that's pretty much set up. I'm very lightly familiar with Algorand. Definitely don't own any. So I'd really be going off of what we're looking at. So you can either get this is what he knows about, or let's see what he does live.
Let's go Algorand. That'd be more interesting, I feel like.
All right, let's look at Algorand. I use CoinMarketCap, I use Masari, I'll use CoinGecko this time. Algorand. All right, Algorand. So we're looking at CoinGecko.com. Algorand price, where can you buy? What's the all-time high? Well, where's the about?
Dang, they don't even have an about, or we're skipping.
Read more. Read less. Yeah, we're missing something here. Oh, here we go.
Okay, overview, and then.
Oh, look, they got their own tokenomics, new, and they don't have the tokenomics for the coin.
Algorand has its wait, what?
The CoinGecko.com has a new tab when you're looking into a thing. One of them is tokenomics, as we talked about.
Yeah.
But they don't have any input for tokenomics of Algorand yet. All right, it looks like I'm going to have to go to the site, but this is another thing I use. CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, or Masari for. There's so much scam going on in this space. I'm not saying Algorand is a scam. I'm saying I don't know if I'm going to Algorand.com, .org, .io, anything.
Yeah.
And you can't trust Google.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're just going to give you the highest, whoever pays them the most to put their ranks up top.
Right.
So I usually go to someplace like CoinGecko to look up the coin. In their info section, you'll see the website.
Okay.
And I'll click that, so I know I'm going to the real site, not some scam site.
It looks like there's a couple, though, right?
Yeah, they got Algorand.foundation, Algorand.com.
And then another Algorand.com, right?
Yeah, that's probably just a repeat for the thing.
Oh, okay.
They also have Algorand.org. And any good, if you're really care about security of your users and you have high security content, you'll do that. You don't ever just buy your .com. You'll buy your .com, your .org. If you're a tech company, maybe the .io. You can use whichever one you want to, right, and point the rest to that. But that way, scammers can't come along and buy a mirror site and confuse people who aren't paying attention. So that's always sort of a good thing. So we'll go on the Elgaran.com. The world's most powerful and sustainable blockchain. Well, that says nothing to me. Our institutional grade blockchain, they're already losing me because they're talking about institutions. Mm-hmm. And to me, anything I want to do blockchain is, the blockchain is the institution. I don't need institutional grade. But is the first and only to achieve decentralization, scalability, and security without compromise and while being environmental sustainable. So this goes more on a do your own research thing. But reading, this is the very first thing they say about themselves, right? Mm-hmm. Everything they've said so far is either not true or pure marketing. It's the first and only to achieve decentralization, scalability, and security. I don't believe them. Yeah. They're going to really have to prove that to me. And whatever they're doing, I mean, every alt layer 1 says this. Mm-hmm. All right. Without compromising, well, this is the problem. You can't. You have to compromise something, right? You can't have decentralization, scalability, and security in equal fashion. Bitcoin compromises scalability. Mm-hmm. Ethereum compromised scalability. And I feel they also compromise somewhat on security because they decided to do smart contracts, which means it's more complex code, which means it's not as secure because there's more room for error, right? Mm-hmm. You always compromise something. Like, no, we didn't compromise anything and we improved on stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. The green blockchain, that already means nothing.
Their website is nice, colorful.
Yeah, that means there's marketing. Again, these are the things I look at, right? But we're not here to talk about quality of the project. We're just seeing if it's, I'm just looking for something here that tells me what it does. Core protocol. Elgaran removes the technical barriers that for years undermined mainstream blockchain. Proof of stake ensures full participation. So we'd have to look into how they run proof of stake because, well, first of all, they trademarked proof of stake. Like they have the trademark logo on there, like it's pure proof of stake. Yeah.
So I did watch a little video on this one before coming in.
Oh, give me your summary.
And the pure proof of stake is different in that if you own any Elgaran, you get a percent return, whether or not you like stake it. It's just the fact that you own it, you get some percent. So that's what they're saying is pure proof of stake.
Okay. What's the purpose? What does it do? It's just another smart contract platform?
I don't exactly remember. I was hoping that when you talked about it, what the video said would kind of like make a little more sense. All right. In the hopes of our users and our time here, we're going to go to Masari and look them up. They'll give me a better summary. I'll go around. But I do remember the video saying that, they were like saying that it solved all the problems and there's no compromise. So. Yeah,
but that doesn't. Okay,
yeah,
great.
I mean.
You said it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reward, nor does it put validator or user funds at risk of being slashed. Elgaran intends to eventually leverage its design to form the foundation of an on-chain governance system. All right, so they're looking at governance. Because I'm not trying to really critique Elgaran in and of itself, just what they're doing, if there's any build. So I'll say this so far. The permissions pure. Unlike first generation consensus, Elgaran finalizes blocks in seconds and aims to provide immediate transaction finality while preventing forks. And remember, Ethereum promotes forks. That's a big difference between Elgaran and Ethereum. just based on that sentence on how they do it. If Bitcoin doesn't like forks, but they're there. And they upgrade through soft forks, which means it's backwards compatible. If you have version 0.1 of Bitcoin and version 1 of Bitcoin, your version 1 will still be able to read version 0.1. So there's no need, it's not required to upgrade. Ethereum, on the other hand, works by forced hard forks, which means there is no backwards compatible at that point. But that's because the whole network has to sort of be on the same intertwined chain, because you have things like DeFi and NFTs. You can't fork if you got a one of one NFT, right? If you got a Bored Ape and then Ethereum forks, the fork in itself gives you two Bored Apes. Which one's the real one?
Right.
So you can't have two active real forks of Ethereum.
Right.
So that's a forking problem, right? So Elgrand saying is they prevent forks. Which means you could build, theoretically, if everything else works, you wouldn't have that problem. You could build DeFi, you could build reliable NFTs and not have to worry about double up. It's open source, publicly available, provides a robust set of developer tools, DApp. All right, so without looking at anything else, I would say there's utility here. Now, whether it's good compared to anything else, have no idea. From the marketing jargon on the website, I'm going to lean towards the probably not side, but that's just my opinion, and I'm just some asshole on the microphone, right? But is there utility? Yes, because as we spent some time talking about Bitcoin and what its utility is, right? We didn't really talk about like Ethereum or smart contract platforms utility. And their utility is, all right, Bitcoin is doing store of value, right? Preserve wealth, which is very useful. But there are going to be other things in life that you also want to preserve or have censorship resistant and have trustless and permissionlessness. And a lot of that is like, well, we slightly talked about like the real estate part, which is taking like a huge leap forward. There's still things like just basic swapping, right? If you wanted to swap assets, sort of that XRP thing, except where you're going from an off-chain asset to XRP to an on-chain asset or to another off-world asset. What if I want to go from one on-chain asset to another on-chain asset, right? And this is where decentralized exchanges come in. You can't do that without smart contract platforms. This is what Ethereum started. They started that revolution. And I've been saying this since about 2019, 2020. It used to be when you hear altcoin, you meant an alternative to Bitcoin, right? And that was very true through the 2017 bull and most of its bear market, right? But around 2019, when all these other L1 started popping up, Cosmos started to become popular. I'm pretty sure Elgrand was there. I've heard of Elgrand. I just never, after a while, there's just too many to be that deep on them. But Cosmos, Elgrand, Avalanche, eventually Solana, Cardano, you have all the EOS. They weren't alternatives to Bitcoin. They were alternatives to Ethereum. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. There are a few Bitcoin altcoins that take different approaches. Any chain that's probably proof of work and only does money, Monero, Dash, Zcash, Litecoin, those are Bitcoin alts.
Right.
Ethereum is no longer an alternative to Bitcoin. Ethereum is an entirely different thing than Bitcoin. You have Bitcoin and you have Ethereum. And those are sort of the two big realms. Everything else is either an alternative to Bitcoin, and most things are an alternative to Ethereum at this point, right? And there's utility in the base layer thing. When you're talking about the Ethereum scope of things, so Elgrand, Avalanche, Cosmos, which is, there are a lot of things, oracles. Even if I wanted Bitcoin to be able to communicate with the external world at some point, it needs an oracle. Right? So there's utility in having platforms that can solve some of those types of problems, like the oracle problem, like a lending And we talk about banking, right? Be your own bank.
Yeah.
Banks do more than just hold money, which is
Yeah.
basically what Bitcoin does. It just holds money.
Right.
You do lending and all of that.
Yeah.
Smart contracts, there's utility in that. So if Algorand has a way to do this in a way that's even better than how Ethereum does it, there's utility there.
Yeah.
Now, do they do it? Don't know. But there's utility there that I don't think, I can't talk myself. You'll have some purists who are like, no, the only thing blockchains are good for is money. But I don't agree with that. Identity. I think identity is huge. It's probably the biggest problem next to money, maybe bigger.
Yeah.
Right? How do you prove you are who you are?
Right.
And that's not a problem for us if you're U.S. or most people in the Western world, but there's a lot of people who wake up one day and their country doesn't exist anymore. And they go to someplace else and they're like, I can't mess with you until you prove who you are. Well, how are they supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Right? So.
Oh, yeah. It's like that. There was a movie like, the guy, he was like traveling and he while he was in the air, his
Oh, yeah. Got
country.
stuck in the airport. Tom Hanks played that role.
Yeah.
Yep.
While he was in the air, his country like was destroyed and no longer exists. So when he landed, his passport was no longer good. So he had to stay.
Lived in the airport for like 20 years.
He couldn't go onto the U.S. soil, but he also couldn't go back home because he didn't have any identity.
And no other country would take him.
Yeah.
So he got stuck in an airport.
Right.
I can't remember that. It's a Tom Hanks movie. You can look that up, but it's based off a true story.
Transportation or something.
I have no idea what the title was, but yes, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the problem when you depend on a centralized authority.
Right.
And how likely is it if you're American or German that you're going to take off on an airplane, land, and your country doesn't exist?
Right.
Probably not. But there's about 192 countries in the world right now. I would bet, I'm just making this number up, but I would bet something near half of them at least. That's a very real possibility.
Yeah.
You could take off and land and your country is no longer your country.
Yep.
And then what?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a real problem. And maybe, I know there are people working to solve that problem on Bitcoin. I know there are people working to solve that problem on smart contract platforms. Whoever can come solve the problem and do it best and most accessible and trustless, because that's going to be a key, and permissionless. Yeah, that'd be huge. So tons of utility in something like a smart contract platform. If they really could solve the scalability, decentralization, security problem.
Like without compromise.
Or with acceptable compromise. I don't think you're ever going to, some things just you can't solve without compromise, you know, in business. So all my business people out there, there's a trilemma, right? Fast, cheap, good.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're dealing with clients, look, you can have, I'll do the business, but we'll tell me what you want. You can only have two. It can be fast and cheap, but it won't be good. It can be good and cheap, but it won't be fast. It can be fast and good, but it won't be cheap.
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to fix that problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say utility-wise, sure, I see an argument for Algorand.
Yeah, and if you know more, let us know on Twitter. Or
well, you know, definitely let us know.
Yeah.
Show me some resources, because here's my philosophy in life, right? I absolutely don't know everything. I know very little, right?
Me too.
I talk to people all the time who blow me away with what they know. But one thing I have is you will never ask me about something twice and I don't have a full, intelligent, well-researched answer. So you'll never, I mean, as long as you don't ask me in the next 5 minutes, you'll never ask me about Algorand again. Nobody will. And I don't have a very detailed, full answer. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I got homework.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right. So just as a quick analysis as we wrap up, what problem can Bitcoin and crypto fix? Are there any problems that you think Bitcoin and crypto can fix, or is it just
Yeah, I mean, I think we touched on quite a few. So very clearly the store of value, proof of identity, potentially. Let's see here. Proof of like ownership of something,
Mm-hmm.
potentially like real estate, things like that, like titles. Yeah,
I mean, if you just name those, if that's
oh my God,
you named, I think 4 things.
Yeah.
If that was it.
Yeah.
And nothing in crypto or blockchain or anything could ever solve more than those 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
That's already
Super big.
huge, large-scale societal changing things.
Yeah.
Right? If it only did one of those,
Mm-hmm.
it's huge societal changing. Right? The fact that it can do more than one of them is even bigger.
Yeah.
Right? We haven't even tapped into how it's going to affect AI.
Oh yeah.
So maybe another episode.
Write that down.
So I will have, maybe we'll highlight the coins we talked about today.
Okay.
We'll link some resources to each one so you can go look for yourself to see if they have utility. I'll point down to our Do Your Own Research, which will give you links to the Masari and Coin Market Cap and CoinGecko, and any other little information. And then you can find all that by going to theblockument.com, right? And you can also check out our past shows because there's going to be a few you're going to want to listen to understand some of what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. And as Ashley said, if you got some information for me on where I can learn more about like Algorand, or if you want to check my opinion on any of this stuff, like, don't XRP Army me.
I was going to say, I think we're
I used to be one of you. I might have been a deserter, but please don't XRP Army me. But you can hit us up on Twitter. Where?
I say get them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Let's see, am I missing any? I think that's all of them.
All right. And maybe we'll talk about a little bit more on the block notes.
Oh,
all right.
Yes.
Peace.
Peace.
Come